Good morning. Today, good morning, everybody. Today, we are going to learn about relative classes. Let me introduce myself. I am CG Lakshmi Prasad, Assistant Professor of English, working at Government Degree College, Atmakor. Today, I am presenting relative classes, and some of you must be knowing relative classes are two types: defining relative class and non-defining relative class. So, all these things we are going to learn today. First, let us understand what actually relative class. Actually, there are three classes in English: noun class, adjective class, adverb class. Adjective class is also called relative class. Why it is called a class? What is the definition of a class? See, in the English language, we speak of words. Words make sentences. And in the words, we have eight parts of uh, speech: noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, like that, so on. In the same way, we have phrases, three phrases: noun phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase. What is noun phrase? A group of words which do not have sentence pattern like subject, verb, object, work as a noun. That's called noun class. In the same way, adjective phrase. In the same way, adverb phrase. Then we have class. What is the difference between phrase and class? Class is also works as a noun or as an adjective or as an adverb. But the difference is that these classes have a structure of a sentence. What is the structure of a sentence? Subject, verb, object. So the pattern of the structure, but it is not a complete sentence. It has to depend, because all these classes are dependent classes. It has to depend on main class for its meaning. Otherwise, they do not have meaning. So, today we are going to learn about relative classes, which is none other but adjective class. So, what does it do? It acts like an adjective. So, it gives extra information about noun. What is an adjective? We say a good girl. So, good is an adjective. In the same way, a girl who is so good. So, who is so good is working as an adjective, but it is a class because it has subject. Who is verb and good, of course, adjective. So, in the same way, a relative class is one that is connected to the main class of the So a relative class is one that is connected to the main class. So it is subordinate class. No, basically it is a subordinate class. It can be adjective class, or it can be, adverb class. It can be noun class. All these classes are subordinate classes. So it is connected to the main class of the sentence by a word such as, and we have connectors to connect main class and subordinate class. So conjunctions also we call them conjunctions. So what kind of conjunctions do we use? Usually in relative classes, we use who, whom, which, that, whose, etc. And these words are called, are termed, may be termed as relative pronouns or relative adverbs based on their functioning. So what is the difference between relative pronouns and relative adverbs? Relative pronouns refer directly to the persons. So pronoun, what is pronoun? Pronoun is a word which is used instead of noun. So in the same way, this relative pronoun means who. So who doesn't? Who refers to the word that precedes it. For example, Rama, who is standing there, is my brother. So who refers to Rama? So that's why it is called a relative pronoun. In the same way, relative adverb refers to places, time. Okay. That's why they are called, usually places and times are called adverbials or adverb of time, adverb of place. So in the same way, if we are referring to some place, if we are referring to some time, and that is defined, then it becomes relative adverb. And both relative pronouns or relative adverbs are used here to define particular, uh, you know, um, to define particular name or particular place, or no, that's why they are called relative classes. Let us examine here two examples I have given. I might be tempted to envy people who can live that way. See here, what is a relative class here? Who can live that way? It is joined with who. Who can live that way? This who can live that way, in this, who is referring to people. The word which precedes who is referred. So who, people is referred as who. So we can we can make this one sentence into two sentences, like I might be tempted to envy people. The people can live that way. The people can live that way. So here it is related. That's why it is relative class. It will not only be your proud families who celebrate your existence. So once again, who is referring to families? To underline the underlined parts and the descriptive information about the nouns people, families, these people, families that precede them, these are known as relative clauses. So these are called relative class. Who can live that way, who celebrate your existence. These classes specify which people or what kind of people the speaker is referring to. So actually they are defining people, they are defining families. That's why they are called relative classes. Now, relative classes, more examples, some more examples let us examine in order to understand. The film is about a girl who overcomes many obstacles in her life. See here, this who overcomes, who is referring to girl, and girl is defined, and it's given some essential information, who overcomes many obstacles in her life. So this is a relative class. The woman whom I met at a seminar. So here we are giving some information about a woman, and who about which women we are speaking, whom I met at a seminar. I met some women at seminar, and I am speaking about that woman. He is an award-winning author. Where is the book? Which book? That I gave you in the morning. That I gave you in the morning. Do you remember the man whose daughter broke several records? So here again we are talking about a man, and we are giving some extra information that his daughter broke several records. She wore a dress that was too big for her. Dress, which dress she is wearing? She is wearing a dress which is too big for her. The red colored parts are relative classes. Whatever that is in red color are relative classes which give additional information about the thing or person being talked about. We can place a relative class either in the middle or at the end of the sentence. So we can play the placement. See, in the second sentence, the woman whom I met at a seminar is in the middle of the sentence. Whereas here is at the end of the sentence. Here also at the end of the sentence. Here also at the end of the sentence. Here also at the end of the sentence. So like that, we can, the placement of the relative class can be at the middle or at the end. Note the use of words such as who, whom, whose, which, are that to introduce related class. These words used in this context are relative pronouns. So here they are relative pronouns because they are referring to some person or something. So whatever, if a pronoun is referring to some person or a thing, they are called relative pronouns. Now let us understand relative pronouns. Let us examine relative pronouns. Relative pronouns perform two functions. They can do two things. One is Like other pronouns, they refer to a noun, a person or a thing. So usually pronoun, what does it do? It refers to a person or a thing. Suppose if we say he refers to Rama or Krishna or whoever we have referred earlier. So that is the work a pronoun does here. A relative pronoun is a bit different from ordinary pronoun. So ordinary pronoun maybe suppose we are talking about Rama. So we say Rama is my friend. He is in Hyderabad. He works in a factory. He can speak many languages. So all these he's referred to Rama. But whereas here, relative pronoun refers to the word or name or thing that precedes. That is very important. Actually, there should be something. Okay, example we have already referred. So it can refer to a person or a thing. That is the first function. The second one is they join two classes together, so it can act as a conjunction also, whereas ordinary pronouns cannot act like conjunctions, but whereas this one relative pronouns can act like conjunction. It can join main class and subordinate class, so two functions it can do. Let us examine some examples. Okay, I hope the film is about a girl. The girl overcomes many obstacles in her life. Here, two sentences are there. Okay, we have to join these two sentences. How do we join? By using a conjunction. So, which conjunction? Relative pronoun. So, that can act as a relative pronoun as well as a, conjunction. Let us say the film is about a girl. The girl overcomes many obstacles in her life. So, how we can add these two sentences into one sentence. The film is about a girl who overcomes many obstacles in her life. So by adding who, we have joined the two main classes, and this one becomes a subordinate class and this one becomes main class. She wore a dress. It was too big for her. Here also two sentences are there. She wore a dress and the dress was too big for her. Here instead of a dress, we are using it. But when it comes to relative class, what happens? It becomes a which or that. That also we can use. She wore a dress that was too big for her, or she wore a dress which was too big for her. So here, which are that? The relative pronouns. It is referring to dress. It is referring to dress. So dress is a thing. So we can use which or that, not who. Who refers always to persons. Who or whom always refers to persons. Whereas as far as the things are concerned, we can use which, or sometimes we can use even that, and that can also be used for persons as well. Okay, and we will discuss all these things in the next slides. The woman is an award-winning author. See here, the woman is an award-winning author. I met her at a seminar. Here again, two sentences are there, and let us combine these two sentences with the help of relative pronouns. The woman whom I met at a seminar. The woman whom I met at a seminar is an award-winning author. Is an award-winning author. That is how, with the help of these relative pronouns, which also act as conjunction, can join two sentences, and it can also refer. It can work as a pronoun, relative pronoun. So these are called relative pronouns. Now let us examine how many relative pronouns are there which can be used in relative classes. First one, use of relative pronouns. Who, whom. Who and whom always refer to people. That's the first rule. Who and whom always refer to people. You cannot, it cannot refer to a thing. Okay, non-living thing. It can only refer to human beings, not even animals. Animals, for animals also we cannot use the lion who is. We say the lion which is. Okay, we cannot say the lion who is, the tiger who is. We cannot say. We can say Rama who is, Sita who is. Okay, they who were, something like that we can say. People. It has to refer only to the people. Who is used as a subject of the verb, and what is the difference between who and whom? Who is the subject of the verb always? Okay, suppose we say Rama is my friend. So instead of Rama, we can use who. Who is my friend? Rama is my friend. Rama met Sita. Suppose you want to ask a question on Sita, then you use whom. Whom does or whom did Rama meet? Whom did Rama meet? So Rama, whom is used as the object of the verb. So if you are in a relative classes, if you are referring to a person who is in the subject position, you use who. If you are referring to the person who is in the object position, you use whom. But as far as in modern English grammar, who replaces whom. Instead of whom, you can use who as well. However, in modern English, it is common to use who in both subject and object position, particularly in spoken English. Particularly in spoken English. Whereas, if it comes to formal and written English, spelling mistake, you still use whom. You still use whom. But in spoken English, whom can be replaced with who. Even if it is, if you are referring to a person who is in object position, you can still use who instead of whom in spoken English only. Okay, not in formal or written English. The woman who is talking to the tall man is the CEO. See here, the woman who is talking. So here we are, suppose if we now separate this sentence, then you understand why who is used here. The woman is the CEO. The woman is talking to the tall man. So the woman is in the subject position in this sentence. Okay, in the woman is in subject position, so we are using who. Let us go to the next one. The woman whom the tall man is talking to is the CEO. See here, if we separate this sentence, the woman is the CEO. Okay, she was talking to the tall man. She is talking to the tall man. So here tall man is referred. The tall man is talking to, passive voice. Okay, the tall man is talking to. So tall man is referred to as whom, because tall man is in objective position. So let us take another example. Marie Curie, who discovered radium, was Polish French woman. See again, if you separate these one sentence, Marie Curie was Polish French woman. Marie Curie discovered radium. So Marie Curie is in subjective position, that is before verb. So here we are using who. Next sentence, the boy who or whom. So as I told you, in modern English, we can use instead of whom, who. So both are possible. The boy who or whom I saw on the roof fell down and broke his leg. Now let us separate this one and try to understand. The boy uh, roof fell down and broke his leg. The boy fell down and broke his leg. The boy fell down and broke his leg. And the next sentence is, I saw the boy on the roof. I saw the boy on the roof. See, the boy is after the verb. So we are referring to the boy. The boy is after verb. So we have to use whom. We have to use whom. I hope you understand what is subject position and object position. Subject position is the one which is before the verb. Rama killed Ravana. Rama is in subject position. Ravana is in object position. Okay. If you are referring to Rama, if you want to refer to Rama in relative class, you say who. If you want to refer to Ravana in relative class, then you say whom. That is our basic rule. I hope you understand. Then whose. Who, whom is over. Whose is also relative pronoun. We use whose is a relative class to describe ownership, like his, hers, his, her, its, their. Okay, it's a position. You say it is my book, it is his book. Okay, it is your book. Okay, it is their book, it is its book. Okay, something like that. Okay, so possession, we use whose is in a relative, is relative classes. Sorry, in who we use whose in relative classes to describe ownership, possession, or to show that something belongs or sorry, relates. Actually relates, it's a spelling mistakes. Something belongs to or relates to someone or something. It usually refers to a person, thing, or a group. See, unlike whom refers only to persons, but whose can refer to person, thing, or a group. It can refer to any, so it doesn't have any discrimination as such. Okay, animals, human beings, it can refer to anything. Whose replaces his, her, its, their. So like pronouns. So who, whom replaces he, him. Okay, sorry, he, she. But whereas whose replaces his, her, its, or their. See, let us let us examine these examples, then you will understand better. I have never seen a plant whose flowers change colors. See, if you separate this, I have never seen a plant. Its flowers change color. Its flowers, instead of whose, suppose if we separate, you have to use its flowers, not it flowers. Its flowers. So instead of its, we can use whose. We have invited only those scholars whose work is relevant to the project. So if we separate who, we have invited only those scholars. Their work is relevant, not their work. Their work is relevant to this project. Their work is relevant. So instead of their, we can use whose. This is a NGO whose performance was praised by the Prime Minister. So if we separate, this is a NGO. Their performance was praised by the Prime Minister. So instead of their, we can use whose. Next one. Polluted Ganga water is a major threat to people whose livelihoods depend on water. Whose livelihood depend on water. Polluted Ganga water. Polluted Ganga water is a major threat to people. Their livelihoods depend on water. So their, instead of their, we can use whose. Hope you understand now. Next one, which is also relative pronoun. We use which for things. Okay, it is opposite, like who, whom is for persons, which is for things. Okay, whereas whose is for everyone. Which we use which for things. We use it as a subject or object of the classes. Whereas in who, whom, who is used as a subject, whom is used as an object. But here, which can be used for both subject and object, it doesn't make any difference. Let us see here. My grandfather has a camera which was manufactured in 1906. See, here it is subject. Why it is a subject? Whenever you get whether it is a subject or object, you just divide it into two sentences. My grandfather has a camera. It was manufactured in 1906. So it is before subject. So before subject means subject. Okay. Before verb means subject. So it is in subjective case. Even if it is subject or object, it doesn't make much difference. We can use which. So there is no problem at all. But still you have to understand. You should be able to understand the sentence. Have you seen the book? Have you seen the book which I bought for my friend? See here, if we separate, have you seen the book? I bought it. I bought it for my friend. So I bought that book. Okay, I bought the book. The book or it is after the verb. So it is in object position and it can replace it in ordinary sentence. But here in relative class, we use which. The college students did an experiment which showed the adulteration in milk. So if we separate, the college students did an experiment, it showed. So it is what? Experiment. The experiment showed the adulteration. So experiment again is in subject portion. So we use which. So it doesn't actually make difference whether it is in subject or object, we can use which. The painting which I wanted to buy was not for sale. Object. See here how it is object. The painting which I want, the painting was not for a sale. The painting was not for sale. Okay. I want, which I wanted to buy. See, which I wanted to buy the painting. I wanted to buy the painting. So the painting is after the verb. The painting is after the verb. So it is object. Okay. So here we have used which. I have a little shadow which goes in and out with me. I have a little shadow. It goes in and so it is in subject position. The car which was parked at the railway station was stolen. So car again. All these are things you see. You can observe. The car, the car was parked at the railway station. Okay, sorry, the car was stolen is the main class. Which was parked at the railway station, which means the car was parked at the railway station. It is in subject position. So you should be able to understand subject, verb, object, and main class, subordinate class, and how these things, and only these relative classes can be understood very easily. Now, use of relative pronouns. One more last thing, and last one is that. Okay, we use that for persons and things. We use that actually. See, once again, let us remember who and whom is for persons, which is for things, and whose can be used for both. That is possession. That is different actually, and that can be used for both. It can be used for persons. It can be used for things, and it can also be used as a subject and also object of the class, even in the subject or object. And after a superlative, even after a superlative, it can be used. So it is more flexible. Okay, if you don't know whether to use who or whom or which, you simply can use that. It is very easy. That that can be not that here actually, that can be used informally instead of who or which. So in informal English, it is used more, but whereas if it comes to formal English, it is better you choose who or which. Okay, that is much more common in American English. In American English, they don't use who or whom or which or all those things. They simply use that. Let us examine some examples. I saw something that was round with many colored feathers on it. I saw something which was round. Actually, we can use which here. So instead of which, we have used that. I saw something which was round with many colored feathers on it. So instead of which, we can use that. Where is the pen that I gave you in the morning? See, where is the pen which I gave you in the morning? So instead of which, we can use that. So it is very common in American English. And even we can use in British English. But formal English, they prefer who or whom. But here we can use that. Almost all the people that I knew in the office have retired. See here. Almost all the people whom I knew, instead of whom, here that is used. This is the best book that I have read on the subject. So this is the best book which I have read. So instead of which, we can use that. So that is more flexible and it can be used. Then omission of relative pronouns. So in certain cases, in some cases, not always, okay, we can omit a relative pronoun and we can combine the sentences, two sentences, without using conjunction. And that is particularly, let us say, if the relative pronoun who, whom, which, and that is the object of the verb. If it is object, who cannot be object, actually whom, which, and that, if they are in object, if they are object of the verb, it can be omitted without causing any change in the meaning of the sentence. It doesn't change any meaning. Let us see here. The supermarket she likes to visit has closed down. The supermarket which she likes, actually which can be used here, but even if you remove that one, the meaning doesn't change. The supermarket she likes to visit, the supermarket she likes to visit has closed down. The officer I spoke knows you very well. The officer whom I spoke knows you very well. So whom can be removed, and even if you use, there is nothing wrong, but it can be removed, it can be omitted, or it can be skipped. The girl I told you about got admission in the best medical college. The girl that I told you, or the girl whom I told you, who I told you, or whom I told you, got who, okay, who only. The girl who I told you about got admission in the best medical college. So yeah, in place of that, in place of which, in place of whom, we can use, we can actually skip these conjunctions and we can use. But remember, it's not always possible. Okay, in all the cases, it's not possible, particularly if the relative pronoun is a subject position. Okay, however, when the pronoun is a subject of the sentence, if it is subject of the sentence, it can't be omitted from the sentence. Look at the following sentences. The relative pronouns are necessary and can't be left out without affecting the meaning. Particularly if relative pronoun is in subjective position, if it is referring to the subject of the verb, if it is the subject of the verb, we cannot remove. Yeah, so we cannot remove. Okay, the meaning changes if you remove, or it becomes ungrammatical. Let us see here. The boys who work in our office are extremely hardworking and sincere. Suppose if we remove who, the boys work in our office are extremely hardworking and sincere. So it has no connection. The boys work in our office is one sentence. Are extremely hardworking and sincere. It is not connected. It is ungrammatical. It becomes ungrammatical and becomes senseless. She told me a story which was very interesting. Suppose if we remove which, she told me a story. She told me a story was very interesting. Yes, again the meaning has gone. The thing that really shocked me was her indifference. Suppose if we remove that, the thing really shocked me was her indifference. There is no meaning. So you have to use only when you use these pronouns. Okay, then only they become meaningful. Otherwise, they become unmeaningful, or they create problems. Let us go to relative adverbs. I told you relative adverbs means they refer to place or time. When, where, why. Three relative adverbs are there. We use relative adverbs when, where, why to link a relative class with a connection of time, place, and reason. Suppose let us take when. So when means time. We use when after time or time words such as day or year. Do you remember the day? See, do you remember the day? So we have to define day. What is the day? When you first entered college. When you first entered college. So when is used here. We cannot use who or which or that. We cannot use. We have to use when. So that's why it is called relative adverb, because it is referring to time. Time or place means we call adverb. My favorite season is spring. My favorite season is spring. So spring is again defined here. When trees begin to grow new leaves. What is spring? Spring is the time when trees begin to grow new leaves. That is called spring. 2016 was a year when demonetization of rupees 5,000 and 1,000 notes was announced. So we are defining 2016. So what is the 2016? What is the year? 2016 was a year. What is that year? When demonetization was announced. Okay. So that year is defined or given some extra information about the year. So once again, it is, adjective class. She can't forget the year when she won several medals. Again, year. So year is defined as when she won several medals. So in that year, she won several medals and she can't forget that one. So when is here, when is used for time. When is used to refer time. Then where. So in the same way, where is used to refer place. That's all, very easy. We use where after place or place words. For example, room, street, town, country, etc. Okay, place words. I want to see the hospital where I was born. So hospital, which hospital? Where I was born. Okay. They showed me the place where they had translocated the huge banyan tree. So again here place is defined where they had translocated the huge banyan tree. I visited the house where Rabindranath Tagore had spent his childhood. See again, house is defined where some extra information, where Rabindranath Tagore had spent his childhood. I never liked the neighborhood where I grew up. So neighborhood, which neighborhood? Where I grew up. Where I grew up. So these are called relative adverbs. Now, one more is there. Why? Why is reason. Okay, let us see. Tell me why you came late. Tell me why you came late to the interview. Tell me the reason. The reason is hidden. You can omit. Okay. Tell me the reason why you came late to the interview. So why refers to the reason. Okay, why refers to the reason. There are various reasons why we must complete the project on time. So why again is referring to reasons. The reason why I rang you is to invite you to a get together at my place. So why can be omitted here. The reason I rang you is to invite you to a get together at my place. My friend tried to hide the reason why he was upset. See here, why? Why again refers to reason. So if it is a reason, we use why. Okay. Now, types of relative classes. Types of relative classes. I have already told you at the beginning that we have two types of defining classes, defining and non-defining. What is defining and what is non-defining? And first let us examine these two sentences, and with these we try to understand, we try to learn what is defining class and what is non-defining class. There's a girl who won the first prize in the singing competition. So who refers to girl? So we know, we are very sure that it is a relative class, but we don't know whether it is defining or non-defining. My nephew who lives in New Delhi is a civil engineer. So here also who refers to nephew. But physically, if we observe, in the first sentence there are no commas. In the second sentence we have commas. So by this you have to assume that one class, it can be defining or non-defining, has commas, and another one has no comma. So just looking at that, you can identify whether it is a defining class or non-defining class. Okay, first let us see what is defining class and what is non-defining class. In the first sentence, who won the first prize is an essential information. It is an essential. Suppose if it is not there, the sentence becomes incomplete. Actually, not only who won the prize, who won the first prize in the singing competition, whole class, that is a whole relative class. Suppose if it is removed, what happens? That's a girl, that's all. There is no, it is incomplete, it becomes incomplete. In the second sentence, who lives in New Delhi is an extra information. So it, even if it is not there, it doesn't make much problem. Suppose my nephew is a civil engineer, it's a perfect sentence. And who won the first prize is an extra information, is an extra information. It is not necessary. Just a minute, there is some problem. Okay, in the first sentence, so in the first sentence, it is an essential information, it is necessary in the sentence, whereas in the second sentence, it is not essential, but it is only an extra information. Even if it is not there, there is no problem. So let us try to understand what is defining class and what is non-defining class, and how one is how one differs from another. So defining class provides essential information. So which one is a defining class now? Tell me. The one which has no commas. The one which has no commas is called defining class. The one which has commas is non-defining class. So defining class provides essential information. It's essential in the sentence. Without that, sentence becomes meaningless or off meaning, or it doesn't make sense. So it has to be there. Then only you can understand it perfectly. The non-defining class supplies extra information, and defining class gives specific information that defines a person or thing. So it gives some information, and it helps us to identify the person. Okay, suppose if I say the boy who is wearing white shirt is my brother. So you have to identify which boy. There are so many boys are there, and you want to tell who is your brother. And there are so many person, and only one person is wearing white dress. So you say the boy who is wearing white dress is my brother. So the who is wearing white dress, what actually it is doing, it is helping the listener to identify the subject. So whereas here non-defining class gives extra information, is not necessary to identify that person or thing. It's not necessary. Okay. And commas, use of commas. Defining class, no commas. Non-defining class, commas are used to separate relative class from main class. Okay, it can be one comma or it can be two comma. If it is at the end of the sentence, we can use only one comma. If it is at the middle of the sentence, usually this non-defining class is used at the middle of the sentence, and we use two commas. Okay. Now, how to identify? I told you already. You just remove. I given you was the same sentence. How to identify defining non-defined? Remove the relative class. The first thing is If commas are there, it is non-defining. If there are no commas, it is defining. By seeing itself, we can identify. But still, you want to make a test, okay, lab test. What to do? Remove the relative class. If the sentence cannot make some same meaning, it is defining class. Suppose you remove the relative class. Suppose that's the girl who won the first prize in the singing competition. Now remove relative class. What is that? That's the girl. Okay, that's the girl who won the first prize. So if we remove, sir, not that's the girl, we have to remove who won the first prize in the singing competition. Yeah, if after removing, what happens? It remains only that's the girl remains. That's the girl is no, it is not complete sentence. It is incomplete sentence. Hence, is defining class. So suppose if we remove relative class and the main class doesn't make any sense, then it is defining class. Even if we remove, it makes sense. Now let us see, my nephew who lives in New Delhi is a civil engineer. You remove who lives in New Delhi and what remains, my nephew is a civil engineer. It's still making sense. So it is a non-defining class. So that is how we can identify. And some examples, some practice is there. The time is time is running away. Actually, I'm using Zoom. It can record only 45 minutes, so I have to be very careful. Otherwise, it so let us fastly. I'll just see. In the conference, I met a polyglot who knew 13 languages. Polyglot is a person, so here we are using who. He never finds shoes. Shoes is non-living thing. It is a thing, so we can use which or that. Why do you always ask questions? That or which? See, questions again is a thing. So we can use that or which. People who are participating in the competition have to write a story. Okay, people. So we have to use who. You are exactly the person whom I wish you to see. The person is in object position. So whom is used here. Meet the proud mother whose daughter has won several medals. So here, meet the proud mother whose is a possession. We are talking about not mother, we are talking about her daughter. So here whose is used. What did you do with the money which I gave you? Money is a thing, so we have used which. Then an atheist is a person who. So person who. I don't remember the name of the man whom I spoke. So man is in passive, so whom. Only children whose parents are illiterate. Children is a possession whose parents are illiterate study in this school. Do you know a restaurant where? Restaurant is a place, so we have used where. A dentist is a person, so person means who. 1950 year, so we use is a year when. We have to use when. I still don't know the reason why. Reason means why. Have you seen the artist whose paintings are extremely thought-provoking? So artist is a person. So whose paintings? We are talking about possession. So whose we are using. Um, Thank you very much.